Yo! Welcome back to One More Mana. My name's Derik, and today we're getting into a very special, exciting deck tech. We're actually taking a look at the sealed Commander Legends deck I'll be playing on stream this weekend. This whole week is so exciting, and it's just dedicated to Commander Legends, and I'm sure plenty of weeks to come will be as well. And really a huge shout out and a huge thank you to TCG Player. TCG Player is amazing, and they sent us a box of Commander Legends to really just showcase how amazing this set is. Now, this like I mentioned, this week's exciting. It's awesome. This past Tuesday, Ken, Kyle, and I were all on stream together, opening our sealed pools on Twitch, so that y'all can kind of see and get a peek into what we opened, what direction we might go. This is the deck tech of my sealed deck, so you'll get a really kind of in-depth look at what I opened, what direction I went, and what I'm going to be trying to do to win. And then on Saturday, you can see if it works. On Saturday at 8:30 Eastern Time, we'll be doing our weekly stream. But this week, we're playing our sealed Commander Legends decks. We're bringing the petty, we're bringing that pain, and we're bringing some awesome new Commander Legends cards. And to add to the excitement, we're doing a Commander Legends giveaway. This is our first channel giveaway, so stick around till the end of the video to see the details on how to enter. Now, we're going to be playing some spicy cards, some pretty cards. You know Ken's going to be playing Something Broken, or maybe you're like me and just want to collect all the edge foils. Well, then head over to TCG Player. They are amazing. Anything you want to get, you can find on TCG Player. And they sent us a special link for any Commander Legends cards you want to get, and check it out in the description below. Anything you get through that link will help support the channel. We really do appreciate all the help. But now getting into the sealed deck itself, and one thing that's really interesting, kind of just Commander Legends as a sealed format is very interesting. Because you can do, basically with sealed, because draft is obviously very hard to do right now, you start with either 6 or 8 packs. You open up your sealed pool and you build a 60 card deck based on the commander you choose. And it's really awesome. You do get 2 legends per pack, so you end up with a really just pretty solid pool of commanders to pick from. You pick that commander, you throw that 60 card deck together. One important thing to point out is it's not singleton, and especially if you're going the 6-pack route, this may be more important. You might be in a situation where to make it work, you do have to run duplicate copies. That works. Even though it is commander, it is not necessarily singleton, which you'll see in this deck actually helped me out a little bit. One thing I loved is having to stick to your commander's color identity. I just thought that was awesome, because I'm someone who, when I play limited in other formats, I'm not very good at it, but one of my biggest problems is I always go with the mindset, I'm going to stick to 2 colors, maybe splash a third. I'm going to stick to this, keep it simple, get a deck that works. And I always end up in 3, 4, or sometimes even 5 color messes that just never hit their colors. I'm trying to do too many things. I'm basically trying to play it as if it's commander, and I'm hoping that helps me in this circumstance because it is almost commander. But the thing I do love is it keeps me from doing too much. I know for a fact, if I didn't have to stick to a color identity, this would have been a 4-color mashup that would not have worked. So I do like it trying to keep me grounded and keep me focused. And then if you want to see the entire pool I opened, do check out the video. We did put the stream onto YouTube as well, so you can see everything that I opened in there. And there was just a lot of different directions I wanted to go. There were some really cool legendary creatures I opened. The first one that really stuck out to me that I wanted to make work, but I just couldn't, was Yurlok. I actually said on stream when I opened this that I'm forcing this no matter what. So I kind of broke my word there, but I tried. I looked at everything. I just could not get this card to work. I really just didn't have the synergies. And when I saw Mana Burn also affected myself, it just seemed like not a great idea. Then I opened a couple of broken cards in the most broken colors. I opened a Kodama of the East Tree, which really interested me, and I kind of wanted to force that. I just didn't really have a partner I felt that really complemented it well, and green actually ended up being the weakest color in the cards I opened, so it kind of hurt that. And then, speaking of broken things, I was like, maybe I could just play on easy mode and play Simic, and that's when I opened an Emoti, and I was like, oh, I could just play on easy mode. But then again, the lacking of the green cards that I opened really did hurt that. And despite the fact that I really actually started building that deck initially, and that was actually the direction I went, I realized I was just trying to force it based on the commander, and I didn't really have the cards to back it up. But then after all that, there was a card that I don't know why it took me so long to look at, but once I looked at that and looked at my pool, sort of pun intended, I knew exactly what I needed to play, and it was Around Me of the Dead Tide. Now, I know one thing that you need in Limited that I never do a good job at adding is you need lots of removal. And when I was looking through my pools, green really didn't have too much. Red was kind of okay. But when I looked at it, white and black really had the majority of the removal for me. I didn't have any commanders that had white that I really felt like would have been, good to play. But black had a ton, and not only did it have a ton, it had some graveyard synergizing stuff. And I noticed my blue cards while they didn't really synergize well with the whole cascade end of things, there was a lot of graveyard and mill synergies in there, and I just realized how well that all went together with Around Me. So we're going to do this kind of like a normal deck tech from here on out, where I'll go over the categories, kind of go over my favorite cards that got me to go in this direction, and how I'm going to hopefully try to win the game. So Around Me of the Dead Tide, for whoever's not familiar, is 1 a blue and a black for a Merfolk Wizard that is a 1/4. And basically what you can do is you can tap it and a creature in your graveyard gets Encore until the end of turn. In addition to this, you do need to exile cards from your graveyard equal to the number of opponents you have, which kind of works out for us because we really don't have any other graveyard recursion type stuff. So basically we want to mill ourselves, we can exile away lands and non-creatures, and then just bring back our creatures with Encore, take advantage of some cool enter the battlefield effects and of the fact that we're kind of tripling our creatures, and see if we can kind of beat our opponents through attrition and value while we keep just bringing stuff back. Now with the creatures, there's 3 cards I opened that really made me want to go in this direction. I opened 2 Deranged Assistants, which I just love this card in general. It's ramp, it's mill, it's Innistrad, basically it's everything I love. I run this in some of my regular commander decks, so the fact that I opened 2 really made me realize, okay, if I can get ramp and mill on a card, that's for me, a big reason to want to go in the mill direction. And then the other one that is just insane in this deck is Crow of Dark Tidings. This thing is absolutely insane because it enters, you mill 2, and when it dies, you mill 2. But with this whole Encore mechanic, you can literally mill 12 cards in a single turn if you bring this back with Encore. This is one of those cards, if it's in your opening hand or if you're able to get it into your graveyard early, can really just set you up for the entire game in this deck. If you dump 12 cards in your graveyard, that already gives you enough fuel to really have a crazy engine going. And I was just fortunate to be honest. A lot of these cards, I opened just some great ETB abilities that just work great with Encore. Fleshbag Marauder is an insane card that could work as removal, where if I bring back a Fleshbag Marauder with Encore, 3 sack triggers, that's basically like a little mini board wipe in the deck. And Filigree Familiar is just such a cool card in that you can just gain a bunch of life, draw a bunch of cards, and these are kind of cards that I would almost consider in an actual commander deck that I'm building from, with my own collection for this type of deck. And the fact that I had them in my sealed pool just seemed awesome. I also love that I got both Sailor of Means and Prosperous Pirates. These are really, really good ramp effects to have. I could bring these back with Encore, get a whole bunch of treasures, and set myself up for some big plays late game. The ramp, and I don't know if this is just with Commander in general, or Commander Legends in general, I should say, or just my pool, but there was a lot of ramp available, and it really did feel like I was just building a commander deck. And it just kind of keeps going. I opened up a Malfeld Twins, which is insane with the Encore ability because I can just make a bunch of zombies. And then a Guiltleaf Winter was in there as well, acting as basically a mass removal spell with Encore. I mean, you look through these creatures, I was expecting just to have to kind of throw some garbage creatures in there just to have something. But almost every creature in here has some sort of awesome ETB effect or awesome dies effect. And the synergies seem really, really good. Now, I didn't get any bomb creature to really just like win the game on the spot or some crazy spell, but because so much of these creatures give me good value, I honestly think I should be able to consistently get a value engine going with this deck. The artifact section really just reminds me of a regular commander deck. There's a good amount of ramp in here. Really the only one that doesn't care about ramping me or color fixing me is going to be Universal Solvent, which is a card I already love that I do run in some of my mono black or mono red decks. Is just a great way to get rid of a permanent. And in a format where there are some just insanely broken cards, a lot of my black removal just cares about creatures. This is going to give me some flexibility so that when Ken goes and plays just some insane enchantment that wins the game on the spot, I at least have some way to get out of it. Now with the sorceries, Spark Harvest is super, super good in this deck. Because of Encore, I'm going to have creatures that are going to just die at the end of turn anyway. Having to sack a creature to pay 1 mana to destroy something is just crazy powerful. And I did actually open up 2 of these. This is actually something I'm kind of tweaking up until the day of to decide if I'm going to run both copies. Super powerful card and really just synergizes so well. And the other one that I chose is kind of weird, but I guess it's kind of this format's version of a board wipe. I'm running Eyeblight Massacre because I looked at my creatures and I realized, including my commander, almost all my creatures have more than 2 toughness, and the ones that don't happen to be elves, or some of them make elves or care about elves. So this is a situation where this is almost never really going to hurt me that bad and can really work as a solid board wipe against my opponents. Now I'm not going elf tribal and I'm kind of curious to see how this will work, but if it's anything like every other commander game I've played, at some point a board wipe needs to happen, and this kind of might be my deck's version of that, kind of to go along with the whole Fleshbag Marauder mess. And looking at the instance, just tons of instant speed removal, And I know a lot of the times when I'm playing limited, I have to go with sorcery speed removal more often than I'm comfortable with. And the fact that I had so many options of instant speed removal in this deck really gets me excited to play it, because there are some terrifying commanders and terrifying creatures in this set. And the fact that I can actually do this at instant speed makes me very excited and makes me very happy. Corpse Churn's actually super broken as well, because it's going to get our mill engine going. Now, I mentioned almost all of our creatures do synergize really well with Encore, but Corpse Churn kind of makes sure if there is something we want in our hand instead, this will let us bring this back if we happen to mill it, and that dual utility is awesome. One creature I didn't mention in the creatures that I'll mention now is I did open an opposition agent. That's not something we want to Encore out. We want to be able to trick someone if they're playing their Armillary Sphere or something like that. So that's a situation where we're still kind of showing our hand there, but if it does get milled, this is a good way to get it back so we can still kind of keep that tricky play open in our hand. Now, in addition to all this mill, I opened up a Prying Eyes and a Thirst for Knowledge as well, which I was super excited about. So you've already heard this mill. Now we have ways to draw cards, discard cards. We can pick and choose which creatures are going in our graveyard. Like, I was shocked, because when I first started putting this together, I was kind of nervous. And then as it started kind of laying it out and typing my deck list in, I was like, whoa, like this almost seems like a deck I would try to build. And I'm really excited the fact that we have all of these synergies going. And the amount of card advantage in here really is where I think we might be able to take home a win. Now, I didn't forget about the enchantments. I just didn't run any enchantments. So there are no enchantments in here. If anything changes, I'll go ahead and update it on the deck list. But as of now, I guess I was kind of an enchantment hater and left all of them out. With the lands, I did get pretty lucky. I did get both a Path of Ancestry and a Command Tower in there. Outside of that, we're 2-color going all basics. Initially, I had a Gilda's Commons, but I ended up cutting it. I had enough colorless ramp, and I really wanted to make sure that if I'm desperate and want to hit a land, that I have the colors I need and not colorless in this situation. I am running 24 lands. I was going back and forth between 24, 25. I've done a lot of gold fishing, and 24 I seem to hit my land drops well enough. But again, that might be something that, if you check the deck list, that may switch if through playtesting it seems like it's a little off. That is going to do it for all the categories. Now let's get into the best part of every deck tech, and even in limited, the most fun part, the game-winning step. How are we about to win the game with this deck? And I'm actually very excited. When I was first starting to put the deck together and I was kind of trying to brew and everything, I was worried I wouldn't have a game-winning step. I thought my game-winning step would be Hope Ken becomes the biggest target, everyone kills him and uses all the resources, and I'm just kind of the winner by default. But that is not what the game-winning step is going to be. I'm actually going to have ways to actively try to win the game, and there's a few cards that I think will really get us home. Now, the number one way this deck is going to win the game is through a war of attrition and just outvaluing people and basically just being able to out-advantage 3 other players. I think the card that just epitomizes this the best is Elvish Doomsayer. If you Encore this thing out, each opponent is going to be discarding 3 cards. And in a format that it is limited, so not everyone's going to have the amount of card draw and card advantage you'd have in a normal commander deck. That can be crippling. Everyone discards 3 cards, is way down on resources. I'm playing a deck where my whole graveyard is essentially my hand. Through plays like that, or Fleshbag Marauder coming out, and just all of that, or making a whole bunch of zombies, you can really just get this attrition war where people kind of just feel hopeless because they're using resources, and after you use yours, you get to play them again from your graveyard. It can really become overwhelming. Now, we have some decent-sized creatures as well. One of my favorite one in the deck is going to be Scab Goliath, and I do think punching people kind of can actually work as well. Now, normally, the attrition way I was describing was depleting people's resources and kind of just being the last one with things left. I do think with Encore, we have enough flyers or decent-sized creatures that using Encore over and over again will dwindle life totals. If you swing with the Scab Goliath, you're either wiping someone's board of their creatures, they're taking a good little chunk to the face, and I think we have enough of decent-sized creatures in the deck to maybe actually become aggressive and start swinging at people and not have to depend on out-resourcing them. And my favorite win con for this deck, it was a card I told myself I wasn't going to get, but I opened it, so now I have no choice, and it is Opposition Agent. I think Opposition Agent might be one of the better win cons in my deck. If I can keep this in my hand, I know for a fact, I guess we kind of cheated because I saw everybody else open their packs, people open some bombs. There are some insane cards people open that by themselves serve as finishers that I myself didn't get in my pool. All I need to do is hope they crack an Armillary Sphere, or hope they crack some sort of Surge effect at all. I don't even know of all the tutoring effects or anything like that, but I'm sure, you have 3 visits, different things like that. All I need to do is hold up my Opposition Agent, hope they decide to go for that crack of something, whether it's the Armillary Sphere, whatever, at some point, and steal their win con. I do actually think, I don't know how many games we're going to get in, but I do think if I do win one or more games, I think Opposition Agent is going to be playing a big role in at least one of those, because I've seen their win cons, and they definitely have me beat in the bomb portion of the deck building, but I do think if I just try to outvalue them and then use this Opposition Agent as my own finisher to steal their finisher, I think we might be able to get in there for the win. Now that is going to do it for this week's deck tech. I really hope y'all enjoyed it. I was shocked at how much fun this limited deck was put together. It honestly felt like I was building a commander deck. I hope it plays like I actually built a commander deck. Come and find out. I think it's going to be a great time. And this is not a commander I had on my radar. Arambi was not one I was looking at. And this kind of got me to start. This deck seems so much fun. And thank you so much for sticking around. We are doing the giveaway now. So basically how this works is we are asking 3 questions throughout the week. During our pack opening stream, which is also on YouTube, we ask the first question. Right now will be question number 2, and then question number 3 will be during the gameplay stream, which will also be posted on YouTube to check out. All you got to do to enter is be subscribed and reply down to the email address in the description all 3 of the answers at once. So 1 email with all 3 questions and answers, and that'll have you entered. We are giving away 1 each of the Commander Legends Precons, so enter for your chance to win. The winners will be announced soon. And speaking of question number 2, so yeah, make sure you get your answers in. And as always, a huge shout out to the patrons. We love and appreciate y'all so much. And one last time for this week's video, a huge shout out to TCG Player as well. Really appreciate y'all helping us out and getting, again, to showcase this amazing set. And speaking of this amazing set, there are so many exciting things to come. I got so many built decks right now on the back burner ready to deck tech. I have been nonstop brewing since Spoiler started, and I got stuff that was on my top 5, outside of my top 5. There's commander decks everywhere. I literally just have tabs for days for all the decks I'm trying to put together. I cannot wait. This set is awesome. But until then, I will see y'all next time.